All right, welcome back. It's late May 1861, and we're ready to keep on moving forward here. So let me kind of take you through what's going on in Virginia. Essentially, I'm sending the brigade in Richmond that is now opened up, the 1st Reserve Brigade, up to Harper's Ferry. We're on day 15. Harper's Ferry is currently held by 2 militia units, currently Evans. I'm going to go ahead and send General Winder up there too to join Evans. You'll kind of see here that there's a host of other forces coming up to Harper's Ferry from South Carolina. They're all arriving in about 25 days, except for the cavalry unit. Johnson Beauregard will be able to move in 2 moves, so we got a couple more moves to kind of just sit here and hold tight. A couple of the South Carolina units are going to Suffolk. So one of them is actually the Fort Battery from Sumter, a single militia unit, and then a 6-pound battery. This is really a different strategy than a lot of other Confederate players play, in that they tend to defend Norfolk only and not Suffolk, and then Union players can basically land at Suffolk and then simply march over. What I'm essentially doing is I'm going to be putting a unit here at City Point in addition to Suffolk, and kind of try to limit the ability of the Union to basically just come in and overrun Norfolk. I think it's worth keeping, mainly because it's an objective city, and it gives you a lot of their good things and supply and so forth. It's hard to keep over many years, but I think I'm going to really want to kind of make it a little more complicated than normal for the Union to take it. Like I said, Magruder has appeared, and he's actually available to move next turn. And what I'm going to do is kind of move him here down on the peninsula, probably to Williamsburg as opposed to James City. A lot of action, of course, is really focusing on Springfield, Missouri. I'm sending the host of militia units that were created, Fayetteville North. In addition, the Rolla Depot was blown, so that militia unit will be getting out there, attempting to destroy the railroad. Unfortunately, the militia unit in Springfield is not ready for another 5 days, so again, I'm going to try to see if it will destroy the railroad. It seems that units that are locked as they're forming can actually make those actions, as this Rolla unit did actually destroy the depot on the previous turn. Those are really the highlights. Let's quickly take a look at the atlas here. You can kind of see what's being built. I've added in a few more brigs and a couple other more sharpshooters as well. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, in Texas, I'm creating small, I think it's a militia unit, and then a ranger. So yeah, Texas, I'm not going to simply give up on that. We'll at least hold it and make the Union can at least consider that compete for those victory points out there. So as replacements, it looks like we're getting some free ones. We have 1 elite now and 10 line infantry. So I'm actually not purchasing any of those. As you can see, our main constraint right now is war supplies, but of course really conscripts as well, since we only have 10 of those. Okay, so let's run the turn. Wow, so a really interesting turn. No battles. It looks as though the Union is not initially contesting Harper's Ferry, which I find very, very interesting. I have now basically have an actual small brigade in there that's a little more than a couple militia units. No artillery yet, but it is on the way. So again, Johnson Beauregard's armies are forming, as well as Magruder's force here. Führer has arrived with his small force, and Petersburg. Here we can see this couple of units on the way to Suffolk. Let's see what happened out west. Nothing. Well, our militia unit moved and did not destroy the railroad. So no movement. I don't see any movement from the Union happening out west. So looks like Ironclad is sort of sitting tight. We are very, very close to actually having forces arrive in Springfield. So that's going to be encouraging. So those look like the highlights. Let's see if there are any messages. Some of our units receive forces. You can see like we've sunk 54 supply and 4 money, and then we brought in some more supply as well. So the rest of these messages are simply about our forces being finished. Yeah. So here we go. So there were a few. +3 national morale for Lincoln's first inaugural address. St. Louis massacre. Okay, so that's now fired. So I think I talked about that in the last term. I wasn't really sure exactly when Price would appear, and it looks like it's actually random. So Price has now arrived with it looks a decent-sized force. Again, volunteers, and then cavalry. Ooh, but you gotta like the looks of that. A couple batteries and a supply unit. So we're gonna be able to actually do something out west now. It doesn't look like he's making a quick move on it, so we'll definitely hold Springfield, I'd say, and then think about how to begin to maneuver. Of course, here's Jackson's death. This is not General Jackson. This is James W. Jackson. He was, one of the sort of famous incidents early on in the war where he had a flag. I think it was a hotel, yeah. And then this colonel from New York and the Zouaves, fire Zouaves, went up, and then so James Jackson killed him. And of course, James Jackson was then killed by one of Ellsworth's troopers. So there you go. A couple options here we're going to take a look at. One, of course, is the rail pool and industrial options. I've heard that it makes sense to invest in war supply as the Confederates, as that becomes a pretty large constraint. So I'm going to be taking a look at doing that. Oh, interesting. So I'm getting a message here about cotton bales starting to rot, and then it says we did manage to smuggle cotton bales into foreign harbors, and we gained 50,000. So hopefully those sort of cancel each other out. All right, it's like I said, it's early June '61. We have one more turn of the armies being locked, and then the full kind of on to Manassas action will begin. All right, see you next time.